Hello and welcome. My name is Tom Shima. Over the course of 2026, I'm playing the game Persona 3 Reload. Only I'm trying something a little different. I'm going to match the pace of the game. That's right, I'm playing this game one real day at a time. Please enjoy this different take on the game in a series I'm calling Persona a Day. Hello and welcome. My name is Tom Shima, and today is Saturday, May 16th. As I like to do, I'm going to start by going over what we did yesterday. This catches us all up and makes sure we're coming into today all with the same information. From there, we'll get into today's gameplay and see where that takes us. And then after that, we'll get together back here and talk about it and see what more connections we can make. For anyone watching on YouTube, I will also have timestamps in the description so you can jump to any section you want. I also want to warn everyone that we will be encountering spoilers, as this is a full playthrough of the game. So let's take a look back first and see what we did yesterday, Friday, May 15th. We started the day in school. As we were getting there, actually, Mitsuru stopped us at the gate and asked us how our exam preparation was going. That's been a prevailing theme this past week. We have exams coming up starting Monday. So we've been doing a lot of review and preparation for that. And the deadline just gets closer day by day. So it was nice for Mitsuru to stop in and check on us in the morning. And I was a little mixed on my progress so far. It's not that I've done nothing yet, but I also feel like there's always more I feel like I could do. So I took a more positive tone than a negative one, but wanted to also stay humble on my current progress. And she was encouraged that I was feeling, not overwhelmed by it. And so that brought me into the school day feeling like it was good to at least have the chance to put words to where I was at, and it wasn't just, rattling around in my head. I actually had to consider and confront it. So that took us into the school day. The morning side of things, the game didn't show us, but I'm sure this was also full of last-minute notes and review of important topics from the class leading up to where we're at so far. And I'm sure everybody was just doing their best to get as ready as they could be. Come the afternoon classes, I actually had the chance to answer a question about the psychological phenomena that happens this time of year as it becomes potentially easier for people to feel that malaise and potential depression around things. The instructor had asked what the common name for that was. And I was so excited at this point because I remember a couple weeks back, the pharmacist at the mall, we would come in and he would have those bits of background dialogue. And at one point he said something to the effect of, what's the matter? Are you feeling down? Sounds like a case of the May blues to me. And so as soon as this question came up, that's exactly where my brain went. It's like, she's talking about the May blues, isn't she? And that was one of the answer choices. So I locked in on that answer, and that was correct, which gained me a point of charm progress with my classmates, which was nice. But more than that, it was just really cool to make that broader connection within the game. Something that was just background dialogue that didn't have any specific call-out or meaning actually did turn out, I guess, to have specific necessary meaning for me. I was able to pick something up from around town, apply it to my school, and apply it correctly. Felt really good about that. So wrapping up a good solid day of school progress there, I was again trying to figure out the best way to spend my afternoon. I've been torn between social links and academic work. We were saying a lot during the stream yesterday that there's not really a wrong choice, but it's that forced choice of having to choose one or the other because you can't pick both. And I didn't want to spend a long time, waffling back and forth on which way to go, so I ended up back at Bookworms again. So for 2 days in a row, we spent some time with the elderly couple at the bookstore. I was kind of telling you guys, I like to think that we went in there to maybe look for some study materials or reference guides or what have you to aid in our study side of things. It was good to be able to socialize with the elderly couple, and that's the priority the game gave it. But just in our own story, I like to add a little bit more to that to fit within the story that we're experiencing. But either way, we ended up at the bookstore. And as I came in, it was just Bunkichi there this time. His wife Mitsuko didn't seem to be next to his desk like she always was. I didn't really think too much of it. They're adults, they're their own people, they've got their own lives. But having not seen it like that before, I did just notice the slight difference. And maybe it was apparent that I was noticing that because Bunkichi said, "Oh yeah, my wife, she headed over to your high school for something. She walked over and she'll be back eventually." And at that point, it gave me the choice to ask if I should try to go find her or if he minded if I waited there for her. And I figured she was off on her own. She knew where she was going. She chose to go there. She didn't need my help with that. So I was able to wait around with Bunkichi, and it was nice to have some time just to kind of chat one-on-one with him for a while. And so I'm sure we just had a good afternoon. His little jokes probably here and there. And eventually his wife did come back. We heard the door open. she came back in, but she was quite flustered and out of breath. And that was more than just, a long walk. She was obviously agitated by something. She came in just, oh, you won't believe it. Something's happened. And at that point, Bunkichi just, shifted into full-on, protective husband mode. And he's like, okay, dear, come on, come in, sit down. Let me pour you some tea. Just take a breath. Let's talk about this. And it was really cool to see, laid-back Bunkichi, who can seem forgetful at times, just totally step up right there and see his wife was in need and step up to take care of her. I respected that a lot for it. But once she had some tea and calmed down, she had said that she headed to the school because she had overheard a rumor that the persimmon tree in the courtyard was going to be cut down. The couple has some sort of connection to that tree. They're quite fond of it. If you'll remember, when we first interacted with them, they'd mentioned the tree, and we brought them a leaf from the tree to show that it was doing well. And they were excited, and that was the formation of this social link. So to hear a rumor that the school was planning something with that tree, it didn't sit well with them. And, obviously to the point where it really, made Mitsuko worry. And, so they turned to ask me then, hey, Tom, have you heard anything about this rumor? Which I hadn't, and I told them as much. And so then Mitsuko just asked me, it's like, oh, okay. Would you mind if it's not too much trouble, if you hear anything, and don't worry about it, but if you do, could you let us know? And just that, back to her, sweet little old lady persona, where she feels like, I think it feels like to her that she's asking us for for everything, and this is going to be such an arduous task for us. But I'm just as curious as they are at this point. I want to know what's going on as well, to see the truth around these rumors as well. So rather than just saying, I'll let you know if I hear anything, I took it on, I plan to head back ideally today if I can to try to learn some actual concrete details that I can share with them next time. It was, a super important tree for them, and as they're important to me, I want to, try to see it as important as they do. And they, were super appreciative of, being able to count on me for something like that. It's hard for them to get out and, head to the school that's that far away and all that. So I think they're really relying on me for that, and I'm happy to have them relying on me for that because it's something I can do to help them. So it felt like a good mutual exchange of trust and understanding, and that raised our social link rank all the way to rank 4 already. So we're making some great progress with the couple in recent weeks. And hope I can keep that going forward. But coming off of that then, I made my way back to the dorm in the evening. I don't know if we ever did find that study guide I thought we might be looking for at the bookstore, but either way, we ended up back at the dorm. And for the last few nights, it had been Junpei that was meeting me at the door, hoping we could go to Tartarus. So I was kind of expecting that yesterday again, but it was actually Mitsuru that time. And she, again, just like in the morning before school, she asked me, so, how is your studying going? How is it really going? And again, my choices were either a positive response or a negative response. So I erred a bit on the side of the positive one. Again, wanting to not sound overly confident yet, because I don't feel overconfident. But I don't feel overly underprepared, if that makes any sense. I have taken steps, but there's always more I could do. And at that point, she had said, well, Akihiko and I are studying for our own exams. So if you'd like to join us, we both remember the material from last year, so we might be able to help you out. And you guys could definitely see it in the time yesterday, but I'll say it again. It's like I was elated to have that opportunity. Not just because I didn't really know how I was going to spend the evening, but that was a big part of it. But that fits so perfectly narratively into where we're at in the story and with the dorm mates and just all of that side of it. I was coming back feeling like we'd done social links in the afternoon, so I needed to do something academic in the evening with these exams coming. And there weren't a lot of choices available to me that we hadn't seen a lot recently. I could study in my room, I could go to Wakatsu Kitchen. The arcade didn't have any games about academics, so that one was out. So it would have been just kind of repeating a lot of the things we'd done recently. And that wouldn't have been bad, because studying is a repetitive task. But it was just so amazing to have a new opportunity that fit in line with my goals and gave me a chance to get closer to the people at the dorm. So as soon as I heard that offer, I instantly knew that's what I wanted to do. I still stopped in to check on Junpei and see how he was doing and see if there's anything on the news, as I do. But I wanted to really, get right to work with the group. They were working and studying already, so if I'm walking around town or something, it's kind of like, oh, you missed our study session because that was an hour ago. So I made a fairly beeline to that table to get to studying. I figured, this would be perfect to help with exam preparation because they took the same classes I'm taking now. They would be a great resource to ask questions to, and it would be something that was more directly focused on the schoolwork. It wouldn't just be me thumbing through a book by myself and trying to glean what I can out of it, or playing a trivia game at the arcade and hoping that it just happens to line up. This was actually a one-to-one parallel between classes they took last year to classes I'm in now. So, having that senior advice is going to be invaluable, I think. So we sat down together and did some studying. I was next to Akihiko, and he seemed to be copying some of Mitsuru's notes. But he was also sounding like he was struggling in the process. He was short of breath. He was clearly sweating. He had like a bit of a pained voice. So there was that obvious, it was noticeable to me, so I'm sure it was noticeable to Mitsuru. But Akihiko was trying to power through it, so I didn't want to draw any undue attention to that. It seems like if something was really bothering him, he would say it. Maybe. As I say that, maybe he would try to conceal it. But either way, I didn't want to be the guy to draw attention to it if he didn't want attention drawn to it. And he had mentioned that he was out, this last month recovering, so he missed some classes. So he was taking this chance to go through some of Mitsuru's notes that she was allowing him to use and copying some down for his own reference. And he talked about just what a great note taker Mitsuru is. They're organized, they're just detailed enough, they're easy to follow. And then he mentioned that, hey, you got hurt during the dorm attack last month as well, right? You missed about a week or so. Maybe she's got some notes that could help you catch up with your classes as well. Which, that sounded great to me. And Mitsuru, being as prepared as she always is, she'd invited me to this, study session, so I'm sure she would have that chance to get the materials around ahead of time. But when I turned my attention to see if she had any notes, she was already right there getting them out for me. It's like, here, these are all the notes I had from last year when I was in those classes. Feel free to copy them for your own use, and if you've got any questions, let me know. And so that was huge. Well-taken notes that are specific to the class, that are directly applicable to my upcoming exams. Who could ask for anything better? So I was able to copy those notes down and ask, both Akihiko and Mitsuru questions I had to build some better understanding with things. And we just, did that for however many hours it was. I'm sure it flew by as we were able to do that as a group, and keeping each other focused and on task, and not stuck on questions in a group setting like that, hopefully. And as the evening went on, Akihiko, he set his pencil down and just breathed a sigh of relief. And he's like, there, I'm done. I made it. And Mitsuru and I were both kind of like, what? That's a different reaction. And then he just kind of, smiled slyly and said, yeah, I was pretty smart here. I was taking all these notes, but since I was just sitting here, I wanted to try to do something active as well. So I've been sitting in a squat position just over the chair this entire evening, and it's been really hard work, and it's been kind of stressful, but I made it. I got all the notes taken, and I didn't lose my form. Pretty smart, huh? And I had to kind of acknowledge the multitasking creativity there. But Mitsuru was somewhat less impressed, and kind of reminded him in her very direct way that he's not supposed to be doing anything like that until he's fully recovered. So it kind of segued into a lesson about the cautions of multitasking, and the things like that can seem good might potentially be doing other, not so good things as well. It seemed like Akihiko was fine, thankfully, but it was always just kind of nice to get that little reminder of, it worked out this time, but it doesn't always work that way. The more plates you have spinning, the greater chance they'll all fall and smash. So sometimes focus is the order of the day. So that was a good thing to keep in mind, especially as I've been studying for the exams here. But we finished up our studying at that point, took the last of our notes, the last of our questions, and decided it had gotten late enough. So we packed it up there and decided to head to bed. And I was, again, just so thankful to have the chance to take advantage of their knowledge and their information to apply it to my studies. The game even said we gained more academic progress than we normally would. It wasn't enough to take us to a new level yet, but it was exactly what I needed from that night, with the exams coming up as close as they are. It fit the story. It felt really rewarding. I said in the after stream talk that I was just, at that point I was still grinning because it felt like I was actually almost there and I was doing something productive and using that time, even though this is a game and of course I don't have any real exam deadline coming up. But it still just sucked me in enough to put me in that moment, to feel that level of rewarding time well spent. It was just the best note to wrap the day up on. So yeah, we headed up to bed. We parted ways, went to our separate rooms, and I laid down to get a good night of sleep after a really productive feeling day, to move into Saturday to see what we can keep doing to keep that feeling going as the exams keep getting closer. So with that catches us up on everything we did on Friday. So let's get into the game today and see if we can keep that momentum going. I'll get us over there and be right there. Okay, good. So this was the end of the study group. Yeah, this is where we wrapped things up last night. So we'll finish up here and move on into today. I guess just like that. So now we are caught up to Saturday the 16th, just like we're at in real life. There's a greeting. Hey. I don't think he's feeling... doesn't seem like he's running late. I mean, I'm arriving at the same time, and I assume we all know when the deadline for school is. But he did sound a little different than normal, so... are you feeling okay, Akihiko? The opposite, actually. I ran all the way here. The doctor said I'm almost fully recovered, so I couldn't wait to get some exercise. Again, kind of like we were just saying, I like that dedication from him, but, there's also that side of things of you spent the last month recovering. If you need 2 more days to finish and be fully recovered, is it worth taking the risk now that could potentially set you back even further? That's for him to consider, too. That's kind of that rhetorical question that would go through my head, but just like I've said with Junpei before, too, it's like, these are all their own people. They can make their own choices. And Akihiko didn't ask for my advice or my input here, so I'm just kind of, talking to you guys about that. And I'm not going to throw that in his face either and say, you really shouldn't be doing that. He knows what he's capable of, and I trust him. But there's, that other side of me that, is more cautious and probably overly cautious. It's about time for me to get back in the ring. After midterms next week, I'll be ready for club activities and fighting shadows. That's exciting. We haven't actually seen him in combat yet, so it'll be nice to have additional support on the team, and especially someone in a more senior position. That's why I'm trying to make up for lost time. The last thing I want is to be a burden. Now that side I definitely get. I hate feeling like I'm burdening anybody with anything, so if there's anything I can do to prepare something ahead of time, to just be as ready as I can be, I don't care if other people slow me down, but I don't want to be that anchor on some group. So I get what Akihiko's saying there. I love the character designs in this game. Mr. Miyahara here is just as great as all of them. That's strange. I wasn't expecting the answer to be such a large integer. 50 sextillion times 1200? 60 septillion multiplied by 1820. 10 octillion, 920 septillion. These numbers are too big to fit on the board. Oh, wrong equation. If we instead use our variable in the right one, the answer comes out to 3. This kind of feels like how my brain sees math. I've taken a lot of math classes in my educational career, so I've been through a lot, but all the while, there always came a point in math where it just didn't click anymore. Sometimes it would get there eventually, but so often it just felt like... it's hard. How do I put it? It almost felt like sometimes math was out to get me. It's like we were just doing problems and equations that didn't seem to tie into anything. It's like, okay, multiply this polynomial by that polynomial. And my brain is like, why? How? What am I going to... Where does that fit in the real world? It was always easier for me to tie things back to something that I could tangibly see myself using. It's like, oh, yeah, find the height of the one leg of the triangle based on, the tangent and, angles and all that. It's like, oh, well, if I'm, measuring the height of a tree and I know the angle I am and it's a 90-degree angle over there, that's why I'd be doing that, so here's how it applies. But so much of math just felt like it was there to be intentionally against me. I don't know. I know that's the wrong angle, to have on that, but it seemed like a less forgiving field, too, the way I was taught. And, I know math is that kind of thing you're supposed to be able to approach a lot of different ways. And from an education standpoint, you have to learn whatever foundation they're trying to teach. But it felt less like a creative endeavor and more like a very on rails, if you're not doing it my way, you're doing it wrong kind of endeavor. So stuff like that, where it's like, oh yeah, if we multiply all these together, we get, an integer with more zeros than I can fit on my board here. But if we do it the right way, the answer comes out to 3. So, sorry about that side tangent, but hopefully that was an interesting story. Well, let's get back to the game. So, our answer is 3. Ah, I see. This is a very elegant equation, actually. I'm feeling sleepy. Should I close my eyes? No. I have not slept in any classes, and I'm definitely not going to start the Saturday before exams, so I'm going to stay awake. Especially in a math class, where I need all the help I can get. Huh? What will the exam cover? Oh, right. Exams start next Monday. Come on, Mr. Miyahara. You're kind of, making me nervous with, that kind of talk. Like, oh, yeah, that big important test. I forgot about that. Maybe he's, playing with us here, and he's just trying to lighten the mood. It'll just cover up to page 34, so this formula won't be on it. You always love that sort of stuff too, don't you? That last minute thing I'm teaching you, it's just there to break your brain. It's not going to be important at all for this test. Kind of a shame though. It is a real beauty. Maybe I should just put it on there anyway. Kidding, I'm kidding. Don't give me that look. I forced myself to stay awake and listen to the lecture. Good, we've already started the day off with some academic progress. I'm sure the afternoon continued that progress. That takes us to the end of classes for the day. So let's save our game. And wow, lots of people today. We haven't seen anything from Maiko in a while. She's the elementary school student we met at the shrine near the playground. Hi. Are we playing today? Maybe. Again, there's that big draw for me to want to study, but I did make a promise to play with Maiko. Here's Bunkichi checking out all the different emojis on his keyboard. A present for Tom-chan. I tried to use emojis. Isn't that rad? Totally gnarly. I'll teach you how to use them too, so come by the shop. I like that. And a couple ads today. Wakatsu here. Are you eating well? Keeping a well-balanced diet nourishes your brain, which in turn can improve your studies. We prepare great food with all our hearts just for you. Remember, a healthy brain stems from healthy food. Wakatsu's got your back. And it's the sale at the pharmacy today, so I think we should stop in and check that out. Don't have a lot of money, and I'm not sure what I'm in the market for, but the sales are always the best time to check those things. Today's our weekly sale. Are you running low on medicine or other goods? Come visit us and stock up. So, some good directions there. How did everybody else spend their day? Okay, this is a less divided split than we've been seeing. Most people went the social link side of things. And, looking at that, I might consider that as well. It'll be nice one of these days to get back to Tartarus, since our average level is slipping further and further out of everyone's average range. We're still down at level 13 and on floor 26 or 7 or something. So I'm sure next time we get there, we can make up some of that ground. But I just never like seeing that number getting further from my own in this direction. But this is how people spent their Saturday, so how should we spend ours? One thing I'm thinking about, that we talked about before the stream, and that reminded me as we saw the messages here, is Bunkichi. There's that persimmon tree down in the courtyard. I kind of want to head down that way first off and see if I can glean any information about that. Maybe we can talk to some people along the way, and think about where else to go with things. Then maybe we'll make our way into town, and decide, check out the sale at the pharmacy, and see where else the day takes us. What do you think, stylish student? Yeah, stylish student. I'm going shopping soon. It's been a while. Yeah, I mean, I could totally see just saying, I see. It seems like if she wanted to tell me what she was shopping for, she'd have told me. But maybe she wants that, maybe that was the leading question to get more out of me. Maybe it sounds too dismissive if I just say, I see. Yeah, well, let's see where she goes with that. So, what are you buying? I need new clothes. The summer fashions are almost here. Cool. And, I like to think that that may have been the right choice. Maybe she did want to tell us about, the style she's looking at and the new clothes she's considering because she's a stylish student. This is important to her. And she wants to make sure people know. So now we do. Seems like we've been coming down these stairs a lot recently. Maybe I should have gone down the other direction in the hall. But this is the choice we made. These are the consequences we're living with, right? There's the home economics room. Doors up here, I guess. Yeah, so one of these days we met an exchange student named Bebe the other day. He'd invited us to come to the home economics room. So maybe once exams are done, we'll have a chance to go in there and talk to him. I've already gone out the wrong door getting to talking. We were headed for the courtyard and the persimmon tree. Yeah, thank you for the reminder. Actually, I should be back down that hallway, shouldn't I? My subconscious knew what it was doing, but that talking conscious got in the way and pulled me down the hallway this way. All right, back to the corridor here. I'm glad we remembered now before we got halfway across town. So yes, this is the persimmon tree. A small persimmon tree is growing here. It seems to have special meaning to the old couple at the bookstore. And apparently there's a rumor then that they're going to be cutting this tree down, which seems like an unfortunate thing. This is a nice little courtyard here. It's been a while since we've come out here, but it's nice to always just get back out here and see it. We've got someone to talk to, a friendly student. That persimmon tree is going to be cut down. What a waste. I so wanted to try its fruit. Well, that doesn't necessarily confirm specifics, but that corroborates the rumor we heard. I wonder if there's anyone else around that would know more. Nobody this way. But maybe somebody in the faculty office. Let's head that way and just see if we can go in there for anything. I actually don't remember if talking to that student is enough information, or if I need to go and learn more somewhere. So, continuing to try, we shall. Yes, I've said before, but as another reminder to everybody, I have played this game a couple times before, so just to be fully disclosed to everybody, this isn't a first-time experience for me. But I'm doing everything I can to minimize spoilers, and I'm not letting past playthroughs influence my choices. I'm not using any sort of guides or walkthroughs, so everything I'm deciding is in the moment and based on context alone. So I'm just going to keep it as authentic and fun as I can. Hopefully that keeps working out. Nope, guess I can't do anything in there right now. Well, I guess. Maybe now that we've talked to that student, maybe she'll have something different to say next time. Or maybe there'll be another student some other time that'll have more details for us. Well, let's make our way around. We're right here at Port Island Station. Well, let's even start in the outskirts today. We never start in the outskirts. Here is, for anybody who's not aware, this is the weak cat. It's become something of an unofficial mascot to this playthrough. We try to talk to it as much as we can. It says mew. We say mew back. We bought it a can of food one time. We weren't able to give it to it, but we've still got it, and it's nice to have. There's another cat over here that I got a little too close today and scared it off, unfortunately. But I like to see the status quo back here and think everybody's doing well. Not a whole lot of anything out of the ordinary going on around here. Let's see what movies are showing at Screenshot today before we head off. Unsolved Mysteries is now showing. High school students pay 1,500 yen. Oh, I'm sorry, Undersolved Mysteries. Undersolved Mysteries. That could actually help with our academics, but, well, we've never attended a movie, but I'm not sure that movie's going to be on the exam either. Maybe it'll give us new ways to think about things, but we'll keep it in mind. I'm thinking I'm probably more inclined to follow the social link path that everyone else followed, but I don't want to rule anything out until we fully decide. We're pretty good at overhearing and eavesdropping on conversations, so let's listen in on the housewives at the mall here. Last week was my 15th wedding anniversary, but my lousy husband didn't give me anything. He didn't even remember it was our anniversary. It makes you wonder why we even married them when they pull stuff like that. doesn't take much to make us feel loved. Even a single flower from Rafflesia would do. Yes, they were referencing the flower store at the Port Island station there. And general good advice to be aware of important dates and to not let them slip by. At the same time, before we head into game parade, that idea about letting important dates get away, you don't want that to happen. But as a couple, I think that, like all communication, is a multi-party system. It's probably easier to say when I don't have a horse in the race and there's no actual situation I'm facing. But if something's important to you, there's a lot to be said for saying it. So, I get that you might not want to have to remind somebody about something that should be so important like that, but innocent problems can become real problems if left unattended. So there's a lot to be said for talking things out before things get overblown. After that tangent, let's look at the games at Game Parade. We've got You're the Answer. Man, there's a lot of academic options today on a day I'm thinking of going social links. But maybe in the evening, we haven't had a chance to come by the arcade in a while, and if we can do something that's trivia-focused with other students in Japan, that could be a good way to prepare. And there's a sale going on at the pharmacy, then we can talk to the pharmacist, so let's stop in here and see.
Right.
Yeah, it looks a little more crowded today.
There's a sale today. Buy whatever you need.
And we still don't have a lot of yen. It's more than we'd had for quite a while. At the same time, I don't want to just dive into spending it all right away. I don't think we're necessarily hurting for any sort of recovery items right now.
People used to believe that consuming mummies could cure any illness. They'd do anything to be healthy. The same goes for people these days, too.
Suppose that's true. And I like these background bits of dialogue because, as we learned the other day, he talked about the May Blues, so maybe we'll have a question about mummies coming sometime.
You got everything you need?
I do. We stocked up before last Saturday's big shadow encounter. And we didn't really use a whole lot there, so I don't think we need anything specific right now. But thank you anyway.
Come again, yeah?
I will. I'll stop back here and say hi to Elizabeth.
Good day.
We haven't completed any more requests, so I've got no specific details to share with her. But we can take a look at the list again. Just a variety of different things we can work on. Defeating shadows, making persona, finding items. Little extra things to keep in mind to further direct our playthrough once the world opens up again a bit more. But nothing we can do this afternoon.
Very well then.
But I will keep those requests in mind, Elizabeth, and help you wherever I can. Well, I'll stop in and say hi to Igor while we're here.
Welcome to the Velvet Room.
Hello, Igor, Elizabeth. I hope Saturday is treating you well. If you guys are able to take a day off or have some relaxation, I hope you're able to do it. And I just want to thank you again for all the help you give me. Thanks and take care.
We look forward to your next visit.
Not a long visit. I want to take up a lot of their time, but I always like to just stop in and see how they're doing. So let's stop for a second. I was considering spending some social link time potentially with Maiko, since we haven't done anything with her in a little while. She is the Hanged Man Arcana? Yes. Maiko Ohashi. But I don't know that I have any Hanged Man persona with me. I do not. So actually, while we're at the Velvet Room, maybe I'll take a look at the compendium and see if we can summon one. Yeah, if we have a corresponding persona with us that matches the persona of the social link, we'll gain a little bit more progress. Oh, maybe I am here for business today, actually. Let's look at summoning.
This is your progress so far.
There's Inogami. 3,500 yen. We can afford
Please
it.
take a look.
It does offer some good coverage with Zio and Bufu. Could be a good fusion ingredient going forward as well. Yeah.
So you'll be summoning this one?
Yes, I will.
May it be your inner strength. Are you finished?
It's nice to have a little bit of a chance to take advantage of their services
Forward to your next visit.
and to have them here to help us. I mean, it's, it's so helpful, literally. I grow stronger by these social links, and my social links grow stronger by having these persona. So it's, that nice mutual benefit there. So I've got another persona that fits our needs and could be used to make an even stronger persona going forward. And that was a good bit of yen, but it was yen spent. It wasn't yen lost. Continuing on our tour, police station here, Officer Kurosawa, who helps us procure weapons and armor. This week he's been happy that there's been fewer apathy syndrome cases. We're not here to shop or anything, especially since I just spent some yen, but he has sales on Monday, so maybe we'll look at coming back if we are able, and if I can afford anything by that point. But I just wanted to stop in and say hi, and hope that he's having a good Saturday.
All done here?
Yep, just a short visit with you today.
Come back soon.
And there's nowhere else that I feel like we need to, be around here this afternoon. A couple stores don't open for, a month or so. Chagall Cafe is a nice place, but not where I'm looking to go today. So let's head out. Now, at the school, we already got what information I think we're able to get about the tree. It wouldn't be bad to keep the progress going with the elderly couple, but it seems like Maiko's schedule is a little bit less open than the elderly couple. So I do want to see her when we can, and it has been a while. I'm going to stop by the shrine here. I always like it here anyway, but let's double check this social link side of things. Seems like some social links, it tells us, their schedules on the screen, but not so much here. But for anybody who doesn't remember our past interactions, here's a good little summary. She's a cheerful little kid who loves playing at the shrine. However, she doesn't like being home because her parents seem to be on the brink of a divorce. Which was unfortunate news to hear, especially since she wonders, how responsible she is about that. Stuff you never like to hear from any kid. But I promised to play with her and try to make her happy as best I'm able, so having been seen here, it would seem really cruel to show up and then, not follow through on that promise. So I think that's what we have to do today. And I want to do it. This isn't just a social obligation. This is a social benefit to us both. Maybe this will get me some physical activity in the afternoon, and then it'll be easier to focus on proper exam study come the evening. I won't be that restless wanting to get out and do something if I can get some fresh air now. So Maiko, I am here to follow through on that promise, and let's do something fun. Oh, hi. What are we going to play today? Since we picked up Inugami, we'll make that a little bit more progress. Yes, I think we should spend some time with Maiko today. Okay, let's play on the slide first. A good choice. I like the slide. Spent time with Maiko on the playground.
My tummy's grumbling. Can we go to Wild Duck?
I like Wild Duck. I hope I can be the responsible, older person here and actually afford that. I'm sure I could afford her meal at least. Yeah, maybe. Although, there is also that part of me that wants to also be responsible. The thought of just taking this kid who's at a playground and taking her across town to a restaurant, I, of course, have every good intention, but there's that social responsibility side here where my first question would be, do you need to let your parents know? I've got a phone. You can call them and ask permission. I want them to know where you are. I don't mind taking you, but I don't want this to turn into a problem for either of us later. But we know our character wouldn't do anything nefarious, so it will all be positive and good. So yes, let's go to Wild Duck.
You're the best! I wonder what the daily burger is today. I love going out to eat.
I was just thinking, I'm not super opposed to it, but anymore, it does kind of just feel like not the same draw it used to. As a kid, it was like, sweet, we're going out to eat. This is a treat. This is a special event. What are we doing? Now it's like, do we have to? Can't I just, get something here? And that difference of perspective as you get older, I guess. But I'm glad, as the older one here, I'm able to pass that fun along to Micah.
Because when I go with my mom and dad, everybody gets along.
That's good too. I don't like the underlying other side of that thought, but I'm going to ignore that other side for now. I'm happy that she's happy.
We used to have so much fun together.
Yeah, let's talk about the fun. Fun is good.
Why would they get a divorce?
That's not an easy question to answer. But answer it I must. Well, no. Only a monster would say that. It's still hard, even taking out option 2, which, again, that's not even an option here. I technically don't have any details. I've never, as far as I'm aware, met her parents. But she doesn't know either, so for me to just, throw that same thing out there seems like it doesn't help anything. It just, further fuels that mystery side of things that, even he doesn't understand what's going on, so how can I possibly know? Which, I hope she wouldn't think, but I fear she might. But the idea of talking about, her parents falling out of love, that sounds like that could be a potentially really scary thing for a kid to hear, too. And that's hard in so many games when you've got a dialogue choice to make. It's like, here's how I would interpret this response going, but if the character takes it a different direction, that's a lot harder to cope with. I do want to try as best I can to carefully answer the question for her. I want to give her something that isn't doom and gloom, that definitely doesn't point a finger at her about it, and that doesn't just leave her in as much dark as she's already in with it. So maybe there's a way to gently talk about how people can kind of grow apart at times, and how it's okay to feel sad about that, and it can be a challenge, but to kind of try to ground it for her, even if it's not a fully understood perspective, it's at least something for her brain to consider, hopefully. So we're going to make a choice and we're going to live with it, but I'm going to try to do my best here. Try to reply responsibly. Their feelings changed. They fell out of love.
They don't love each other?
Well, great streamer work right now. I'll just stammer for the next 10 minutes. That wasn't exactly what I meant. This is the hard thing about dialogue choices. It's like, I'd be backpedaling so much right now. It's like, well, no, not like that. It's more like this. It's like, I guess all I can do is move the conversation forward and live with the choice I just made, but
I don't want them to get a divorce.
okay, that's 100% understandable. You're not wrong to feel that way. Well, you're not.
Mom and Dad must hate me.
No. That's not true, and that's not the direction I want this to go. So I really hope the game lets me reel this back to get her out of that, because that's the worst thing she could think.
No, divorce is stupid. I hate it.
Well, she's sobbing loudly. What should I do? Even this is tough. It's like, I do want to help her calm down if I can, but again, how's the game going to take that? There's a lot to be said for working through whatever you're trying to work through here, but I don't want her to feel isolated and trapped in this, spiral I seem to have set in motion. So I'd like to help her calm down, but I don't want it to be that negative side of calming down. I don't want to say like, oh, you're making a scene and people are staring. It's like, no, It's like, I realize you're feeling bad and I want to help you not feel bad. That's the kind of calming I want to help with. And even being told, like, oh, you need to calm down. It's like, that's not how this works. You can't just decide to calm down from something that's, the most important thing in your brain right now. This game does a really good job of leaving you with choices that feel both valid and both invalid at the same time. It feels like, I don't want to be that guy that's like, we're in public, what are people going to think? People are going to, see a girl, here crying and wonder what's going on, especially since they have no idea what's going on, but I also don't want her to just feel like, cast away there, and I'm just, letting her suffer while I sit here silently staring, even though I'm just, stoically staring right now. I wish it was worded more like that I would help calm her down, or I would help her calm down, because calming her down almost sounds like I'm punishing her for experiencing this, and that's definitely not fair, not what I would want. And she's also a kid. It's not like I can just, wait for her to process all these feelings and then, reach this epiphany of understanding. I'm just, Chat, you guys, any ideas? I thank you for not backseating me, but how about now? What would you guys do in this situation? Discuss amongst yourselves, even if this is the YouTube side of things. What would you have done at this point? Are you on the side of helping her calm down or waiting for her to finish? Vote now before I make my choice. I guess either way, if I do wait for her to finish, I am here for her, but this also doesn't seem like the kind of thing I might be able to just calm down and say, oh, they're there, it'll be okay. I will try my best to help her make it okay, but I don't want to be dismissive on these things. I'm not just trying to inflate my, my video length or any other time here. I am. There's that back and forth in my head. It's like, what do? I voiced all my concerns to you guys, so I don't want to keep saying them out loud and saying, well, I could do this, but then that, but then this, and then that. But that's the dialogue in my brain. And a lot of it does stem back to how the game interprets this choice. Because if I wait for her to finish and then try to, circle back and help her recover from the sadness she's been feeling, maybe she'd be in more of a frame of mind to listen to me. There's that thought and fear of if she's experiencing all these strong emotions right now and I try to, force her to calm down and tell her to, oh, they're there, don't cry, that would just make things worse because she's not getting to experience what's going on in her brain and being told to not consider those thoughts. I keep feeling the draw to wait for her to finish. I don't want that to end up cold or dismissive or anything like that, but she is sad. She has every right to feel sad at that. So for me to tell her to calm down seems like we're ignoring something that she's kind of rightfully feeling. So I'm going to wait for her to finish, and I'm going to be there to help her. And I'm going to empathize, and I'm going to suffer right there because I'm always going to feel like I need to be doing more because I feel like I could be doing more.
Sorry. I know it's awkward for you if I cry.
But that doesn't matter. You process that however you need to.
Try not to.
No, if you have to and you feel like you have to or you want to, if that helps you, then you do that. I appreciate putting on that smile, but man, that was a tough back and forth. There was so much going on there. We improved our rank with Maiko, the girl at the shrine. We're up to rank 2 in the Hanged Man social link. It's nice to make that progress, but there's still that part of me that wonders about the path I didn't take. Would it have been better for her if I had tried to help her calm down? That reaction felt like, that maturity beyond years, where she's being forced to cope with things that she shouldn't have to. And I don't want to contribute to the negative side of that. Well, we're going to keep building on the social link from here, and I'm going to just try to keep helping her as best I can.
I have to go home now.
All right, I can take you.
Thank you for playing with me today.
Oh. That sad voice, that... And what do you say to that? Anything's going to sound like a hollow. It's like, don't you worry, it'll be okay. It's like, no, this is the biggest thing in her world right now. I promise we'll play again next time. Maybe I can at least leave her with that. Oh, good. And I was able to see her home, so at least I was able to do that responsible side of things. Okay. Well, we spent some time socializing in the afternoon, and then we made our way back to the dorm.
Oh, welcome back.
Hey, we haven't seen Yukari in a while. She's been out studying with some other people recently. Oh, hey, welcome back.
Hey.
Please, Yukatan. You're the only one who can save me. This is the last time, I swear.
What?
Why am I the only one? Fine. Just stop whining. So where did you stop taking notes? Oh, probably like the beginning? Ooh. They're studying. I don't like rushing into choices, but that was so good last night that I think I know what I want to do tonight. Nice to see Akihiko up here, eating something good. Hope his studies are going well. Let's put our bag up in our room, though. No messages tonight. I am going to save it here right now. Those afternoon choices were tearing me up, but I made them, they're mine, and they are officially saved and made now. So, how did people spend their evening? No social links, no Tartarus. Some went to Wild Duck Burger, shared computer. Some went to sleep, but that study group seemed to be calling for a lot of people, so I'm definitely not alone there. I think Mitsuru had something new to say, so we'll check in with her while we're down there. Akihiko, enjoy your break. Get cleaned up while we're down here. Check the news, say hi to Mitsuru, and then let's see if our friends will let me join them in that study session. It was so rewarding yesterday. Yes, first semester exams. The countdown is almost to 0. But despite my social misgivings on the afternoon, we were able to go to Wild Duck and have some good food there, so we were able to get some dinner before coming home. That makes it even easier to get focused on studying. Let's see what's on TV. The most popular bakery in town. It's so popular that 50 sweet rolls, one to a customer, were sold out within the first 5 minutes. Wow. They got through 50 customers in 5 minutes. That's some efficiency at the bakery there, too. Mitsuru?
Salut.
Yes, I agree. I'd like to hold off on going to Tartarus today and tomorrow. Would that be all right? Absolutely. Why? Gee, I wonder. But yeah, that's all right with me. I need to prepare as well. Yes, that's all right.
Greatly appreciated.
I'm glad we're on the same page. Please use this time to study for the exams. I also like the thought that since I was able to study with Mitsuru and Akihiko last night, and she let me copy her notes, maybe I can help Junpei out as well and share some of those copied notes with him to supplement what Mitsuru took, or that Yukari took, and maybe even share those same notes with her to supplement her own studies. I know I just saved it, but let's save that again. It's going to be that much easier for me when I load in tomorrow, too. But I think we're going to spend the evening with Yukari and Junpei getting ready for these exams. Which, before we jump in, as a reminder for everybody, they start day after tomorrow on Monday morning. So we're in that final push for preparation now. But this will go a long way to help me feel better about that. Oh, Shima-kun, can you do something about this guy? He came crying to me for help studying for the exams.
Wait, what?
Come on, you gotta help me out here, Yuka-tan. Tom, you'll help out too, right? Right? Absolutely. It was so good studying as a group yesterday. I hope we can be just as good tonight. But yeah, let's study together.
You're a saint!
All right, thanks, man. So you'll help out too, right, Yuka-tan?
Jeez.
Jeez, fine.
Man, this sucks. Guess I don't have much choice with Keiicho-senpai getting on my case.
She can be very direct about things.
She was like, if you fail your midterm, there will be consequences. I feared for my life for a second.
He does a good Mitsuru impression.
You guys are my only hope. Give me a hand here, please.
I don't mind helping out. We can help each other out too in this group setting.
You can start by taking this seriously. You've been distracted this whole time.
Yukari does seem really responsible with all this. Even earlier in the week, she had gone out to get notes from her friends or to study with other people, so she's clearly taking this quite properly. So I'm glad to have her on my side as well, because she can keep Junpei in line and she can keep me in line and just focused on what I need to. And hopefully I can share those notes that I took yesterday and help her out a little bit as well. I don't want to outsource all this responsibility to her and just kind of make her take care of the both of us. I want this to be a team effort and a team benefit.
As they say, it pays to be prepared. Gotta get myself in the right mindset first, right?
Sounds kind of like a way to justify slacking off, maybe, but there's an underlying kernel of truth there.
A good study session needs a clean and organized workspace and the perfect mood for learning.
No. I talked about this the other day in my own experiences. I'm great at finding other things that obviously have to be done in the moment if there's something else that I technically need to be doing. If exams are day after tomorrow, then this is the best time to get the vacuum out and clean up the workspace first before I study, because, like he says, a clean, organized workspace is the best one. And after I do the workspace, I may as well finish the rest of the room. Once I've done that, then maybe I should get a snack so I can focus on. It's really easy to find things to keep me away from the things I need to do.
And so, to set that mood, I, Junpei Iori, volunteer.
How noble of you. But
What? Where is this coming from?
You there, young man! What lecture would you like to hear from the great Junpei? History, arithmetic, literature?
ooh, what would you guys ask him? They all sound tempting. Ooh, I actually get to ask him. Well, history, arithmetic, or literature? He reads a lot of manga. Maybe he'd have some good recommendations in that. Maybe the historical manga. I can't think of anything that would be an arithmetic manga, but maybe. Let's get his take on literature. He seems like, we've seen him reading a lot. Maybe he's got broader tastes than I give him credit for.
Aha! A man of culture. Literature it is, then.
All right.
Have you ever read the famous dystopian science fiction novel 1984?
A classic.
Oh, you haven't? That's a shame, but oh well!
Quick, call the chairman. He's got a competitor.
I'd really like to close the book on this chapter.
Aha! You got it too, Yukari. I missed my window. I was trying to come up with a book-related pun to follow up, but... didn't have the spine for it.
Look, we all need a breather sometimes. What'd you think about the great Junpei's lecture, dude?
It was unlike any I'd heard. It was a nice change of pace. It did kind of break the tension we were feeling. I'm not going to be that one that's like, okay, back to work now. But I don't want to enable going too far off pace either, so I'll congratulate him and try to steer us back on course. Yeah, it was also a nice change of pace. I do feel that way. But it was.
Right? Can't have a good study session without a good break.
That's true. Counterpoint, you can't have a good study session without some good studying either, so maybe we'll swing back the other way now.
Oh, please. Don't let yourself get infected by Junpei's influence.
I don't think Yukari liked my choice. This was very much a don't encourage him kind of response.
If we keep humoring you, it's going to impact our studies too. Or maybe we should just let you fail. Find out what Kirijo-senpai's consequences are like firsthand.
Yeah, there's that tough love from Yukari. Maybe because I went the good cop side of things, she's leaning into the bad cop side.
Let's not get hasty here. I was just joking around. I'll get serious. I swear. Don't abandon me.
All right. Well, I guess with that, we all got down to business and continued studying for the test. Very nice progress, it looks like. Still average. Like I said, I'll take that. And I really do just feel, just like last night, really good about getting to see this different side of Junpei and Yukari while focusing on something that is that uniquely shared individual experience of exams. We're all going to be taking the same test, and we've all got to prepare our own way and shore up the things that we individually don't understand. But it's nice to be able to do it in that group setting and take advantage of the specialties and knowledge of others. So yeah, I'm feeling like tonight's study session was just as valid and important as last night's was.
Oh, this goes like that. And then you take that and carry it over to here. And then,
Okay, so it looks like he's working hard on that. I like that eyes closed, trying to visualize it. He's not joking around anymore, or...
Hey, man. You mind giving me a little help with this one?
Absolutely. That's why we're here together.
Oh, look who's actually putting the effort in. That wasn't so bad, was it?
Yep, I notice he's working hard too. I don't want to say I'm proud of him for it because, that makes it sound like, we're not equals in all this, but I am proud that he is overcoming what was setting him back there, so it motivates me to try to get myself going as well.
About that joke I was telling earlier. Should I pause before the punchline or go with the flow?
Well, he's got his own priorities. Maybe he's thinking about this from like an English composition standpoint. Well, maybe something like that.
Why don't we just pretend this guy doesn't exist and study on our own?
It was nice knowing you, Junpei. I'll be thinking about you.
I guess that's enough studying for today. Thanks to you, I got a lot more done.
Likewise. It was a good session. Yukari feels it, I feel it. I'm sure Junpei was able to get a lot out of it. He was able to, take down some notes, bounce some questions off us. I'm sure there were some serious ones mixed in there as well. And I don't want to just cut anybody off. I mean, an exam is an individual test, kind of literally, but it's also that group milestone to achieve. We've all got to make it past this, the same hurdle that, comes at everybody differently. So yeah, I'm hoping it helped everybody out like it feels like it helped me. All right. So that's the end of Saturday the 16th. Let's head back to the desk and talk about it. I'll send us back there. Okay. That was the end of Saturday the 16th. It was another good day. It definitely felt like a roller coaster of a day. It had its ups and downs. It started at school, as we've been doing. Got to go off on that little tangent about math class and my own experience with math. The game gave us that choice of whether we wanted to stay awake or sleep. Math is one of my weaker subjects anyway, so I'm obviously not going to sleep through that. But we stayed awake. We made some academic progress there. We learned a lesson about something that's not going to be on the exam, as you do sometimes. But, you do need to be able to work within a framework of knowledge of, I know all these things, but only 10 or 20% are going to be actually being tested, but you still need to know all of them. So who knows? And maybe that elegant equation he had, will factor in somehow to make the exam easier. But it was another, positive school day of study and review and last-minute preparation. We've come really down to the wire now. We've got tomorrow to prepare, and then tests start Monday. I feel like we left school on a good note. Actually, speaking of leaving school, we were able to go down and check out the persimmon tree for the elderly couple. We found a student that was also lamenting the fact that there were plans to cut it down. I didn't hear anything concrete or specific on a date or a timetable or even a reason for it. But it seems like that rumor has spread far enough that it's got roots somewhere. It's got roots. Anyway, we didn't head back to the couple and tell them about that yet. Part of me kind of hopes I can find something out that's a little more substantial to take the rumor from rumor to realm of fact. But we did gain some little knowledge there. And that took us into the town to take our walk around places. Made our way to the mall and stopped in to check on the sale at the pharmacy. We picked up another persona from our compendium to make our interactions with the Hanged Man social link with Maiko to make those a little more productive. We stopped and we talked to the weak cat, as we like to do. But all that afternoon walk ended up taking us back to the shrine and to where Maiko was. She let us know that she was available and wanted to play today and wondered if I could come play with her. And it seemed like a good day to do that. We talked about being out and getting some fresh air before the evening so that we could focus on our studies in whatever form they took come the evening. So we headed to the playground there. Maiko wanted to play on the slide and probably other bits of the playground. It sounds like we had a lot of fun doing that for a while. And then she said, hey, I'm getting hungry. Can we do something about that? Can we, I know, let's go to Wild Duck. And I'm like, well, yeah, we could do that. My first thought was actually, I hope I can afford to take us to Wild Duck. It'd be embarrassing to get there and, realize I'm washing dishes or something. But thankfully that wasn't a problem, and we were able to get a couple good-looking meals from Wild Duck. Maiko talked about how much she loves going out to eat and how fun it is to go with her parents to go out to eat. And I was happy and positive at that point, but the tone of the conversation kind of began to shift because she said, when we go out to eat as a family, that's when my parents are happy and they're not fighting anymore. And that circled back to the reality that she talked about last time where her parents aren't getting along too well and there's talk of potentially getting a divorce. And she again feels like, that is somehow her responsibility and that she caused that, which you absolutely never want to hear. And it hurt just as much, today seeing it as it did then, and it's even rough talking about it now, still thinking about her sad delivery on that. The person they had, do her voice and her dialogue did so well in conveying those real feeling emotions on that. So, as we were talking about that and eating, she turned to me and asked me, so, hey, why do people get a divorce? And that was just like, oof, how do you explain that in a way that doesn't just dismiss a kid's concerns or that doesn't go too deep into the reality that can be scary or incomprehensible to a kid? And I can't just say I can't say nothing and say, oh, don't you worry about that. It's like, this is the biggest thing on her mind right now, rightfully so. And she's turning to me and asking for help, so I have to try to step up and give it. All through the dialogue exchanges this afternoon, I spent probably way too long analyzing them and waffling back and forth on which one I wanted to make. And as for the why do people get a divorce side of things, I didn't want to just say, don't worry about it, or, one of the options was to tell her it's her fault, which I hope nobody's picked that option before. That wasn't even a choice for me. But so there was the option to claim ignorance and say, basically, I don't know why it happens. Or to, try to put a spin on it and talk about how people change and, love changes. And I erred with going on the side of trying to put words to that and say, people's love changes over time. It seemed better than just leaving her in the dark because she already feels lost about that. She doesn't need me saying, oh, I don't know. Don't bother me with that question. So I tried to step up and give her an answer. And it was rough. And then, when she heard the answer, she took that meaning to say, oh, my parents don't love each other anymore, which was heartbreaking to her. And it got to me as well. And she literally started crying hearing that. You never feel good when you make something like that happen. So, she's trying to process this in her elementary school mind, and I'm sitting there feeling like like I knocked the sun out of the sky for her. So she's crying, and the game gives me this option then of, okay, now what do you do? Do you calm her down, or do you let her cry? And man, we talked about that one for a while. I kept going back and forth and, trying to reason, each side of it. It's like, well, if I do this, then maybe that. But on the other hand, if I do that instead of this, then I spent even longer on that decision of, do I try to calm her down or do I let her cry? And in the end, I decided to let her work through those emotions the way she was and that she was crying. And she kept crying. But, she sniffled there and said, sorry, I know this is uncomfortable and, this is hard. And she was apologizing for making a scene, basically. There wasn't a dialogue choice there, but I was talking to you guys and it was like, no, this is how you're processing that. This is the right reaction. If this makes you feel better, keep doing it. I don't want her to be sad. So, she tried to put on a brave face and, force herself to smile and say, it's I'll be okay sort of thing, even though you could still hear that sadness in her voice that was not buried deep. It was right on the edge, just, hiding behind that fake smile. So it still ate at me at that point, but she did thank me for, being there with her and, for taking her to dinner, and I helped get her home at that point. Thankfully I was able to at least do that much. But I was able to at least promise to spend more time with her in the future. So, the next time she has some free time and is able to play, I can just hopefully come back and bring some fun into her day. I don't want to say, don't think about this important life-changing part of your life, but if I can be there to help her with it, hopefully better than I helped her today, I just hope I can do that. So that was quite the deep, emotional social link afternoon side of things. Not where I expected the day to go by any stretch. But that's actually part of the fun of not using any sort of guides or walkthroughs and just taking each day organically as it comes. And living with those choices we made, good or bad. Hopefully they were the best I was able to make in the moment. Either way, we made it through that as best we could, and that brought us back to the dorm. Yukari was actually there for the first time in a while. She'd been out studying with other people for a lot of days this week, but she was here in the dorm, and apparently Junpei was, begging her, practically on his knees, like, please, please, please let me see your notes. I'm behind in my notes. I really need help. And she was that defeated, like, oh, how far behind are you? And he's like, around the beginning. So they were going to study together, and they invited me as well, which I was just as elated today as I was yesterday to have that choice. I, hurried upstairs and put my bag away, came down and checked in with Mitsuru, who said, I hope you don't mind, but we won't be going to Tartarus today or tomorrow. I hope you understand. And I said, I totally get that. And she was, glad to see that I'm taking it seriously and preparing for exams. And that she didn't have to tell me, it's like, no, exams are important. We need to do that. I was able to say that myself and show that I am responsible and that I care about that. So I made my way over to the table and sat down with Junpei and Yukari and got into studying. I mentioned to you guys that since I was able to study with Mitsuru and Akihiko last night, I was able to copy some of her notes. So maybe I was able to share those with the gang as well and improve everybody's study repertoire. And so as we're going, Junpei decided he would take it on himself to help the group by lightening the mood. He said, we can't study well if we're, just focused on studying. We need to break things up a little bit. So he asked me, so which topic do you want me to talk about? History, arithmetic, or literature? And I'm like, ooh, those all sound interesting. What can you tell me about literature? And he's like, he talked about your 1984. 1984. You haven't read it? Orwell. A Chairman Yakutsuki level pun right there, which actually did his intended purpose of lightening the mood. We were able to chuckle about that, and I thought it was nice and creative and clever from Junpei. Even Yukari was able to throw her own little pun in the end there. So we were able to kind of just take that breath and not be consumed by the studying. But then Junpei's like, yeah, see, I knew it. We'd all feel better if I lightened the mood like that. Do you want me to tell another one? And I liked the break we had, but I didn't want to encourage him too far. So I congratulated him on the creativity there, while Yukari definitely steered us back on the right track of saying, if all you do is goof off, you're never going to study for these exams. And hey, you remember what Kirijo-senpai said about what she said was going to happen if you didn't do well in these exams, right? And that that scared him straight. He was like, "Oh yeah, you're right. I'll study. I'll be good. No more diversions for me. I'll stick to the path now." So we all got back to studying. We traded notes. I was able to help them answer some questions. I'm sure they helped me answer some questions. But we wrapped things up at the end of that day then, feeling like, again, just like last night, I was able to put a lot of extra study effort in. The game told us we made some academic progress beyond what we would normally make. And just from a narrative standpoint, it feels like the ideal usage of our evening. It was a team building work, it was exam preparation work, and I couldn't think of anything better we could have done with our time in that evening slot. So again, I went to bed for the day feeling really accomplished, and I look forward to seeing where tomorrow brings us. So that brings us to the end of Saturday, May 16th. It's been another good day, another productive one, and I hope we can keep that productivity going. I want to thank you all so much for being here and spending your time with me. I am Tom Shima. I stream this Persona a Day series every day live at 12:30. So anytime you want to join me, you're more than welcome. I also upload each day's playthrough to YouTube, so if you ever want to catch a day that way, you can do so there. And I just hope everyone has a wonderful Saturday, that you can do all the things you want to do and you have time to enjoy it. Again, I've been Tom Shima. I appreciate you being here, and I hope you have a great day. Goodbye. With that, we've reached the end of the day. Please look forward to next time to see where the game goes from here. This journey is being streamed live on my Twitch channel if you'd like to be there in person for the experience. Links and schedule details can be found in the description. I'll keep uploading each day's session to this channel so you can keep watching here. Once again, I'm Tom Shima. Thank you for tuning in. I hope to see you again as I continue the series, Persona a Day. What will tomorrow bring?